this NPC update is a little different than normal because I, too, am a little bit of an NPC in this one. So this was the Star Wars controversy that broke this week. So did you know that they're making a new Star Wars trilogy of films that are going to be based around Rey, the girl from the sequel trilogy?
No.
All right, so they're going to make these new movies, and the woman who's going to direct them is named Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. And this is what she said. Listen to this.
I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now. And I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away.
It's just so cringy.
I know. So,
like, even if you feel that way, why would you say that?
I know. Well, okay. Yeah, before we get into everything else, like what if when the movie is not good? Then what? Now it's like, oh, but it was a woman made it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
you're
like
shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, it's like, but then too, this is what was funny. So anytime any Star Wars fans complain about anything, they say, "Oh, you're just sexist. You hate women and
because of Rey in the movie."
Sure, yeah.
Oh.
Rey, any thousands of reasons.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy runs Star Wars. You hate women. She's in charge of Star Wars. The lady who runs Lucasfilm. Just any number of reasons. You can't just legitimately be frustrated with the state of Star Wars right now.
I got you.
But this is why it was funny, because a lot of the Star Wars fans that got annoyed with this, it was like, in order to explain why this annoyed you, you sort of had to prove you weren't sexist, because everybody kind of got to quickly say, no, what about this woman? What about this woman who was involved with Star Wars? And this one. And it's like, all these sexist Star Wars fans didn't have a problem with any of these other people. Like, for example, it's just kind of a very ignorant thing to say, because George Lucas's ex-wife back in the 70s, she edited the original movie. And famously, the movie was saved in the edit. Like the movie didn't.
I heard about this.
Yeah, the movie didn't come together until the end. She saved the movie. It's like, no, clearly she doesn't know anything about Star Wars if she thinks that, oh, well, finally we got a woman in charge of things. Now, what she means is that they've got a woman directing one of the Star Wars movies. And they've had women direct the Star Wars TV shows in the past a bunch. Not that any of them were any good.
But still, it is a little weird to point out that you're the first female to do that.
Right. Because it's like, now your movie's got to be good, which it's not going to be, because I don't think Disney is capable of allowing a good Star Wars movie to be made. And I don't, with this attitude, I don't think she's going to be the one to make it anyway. But it was just so anyway. So a lot of people got frustrated with it, and I was one of the NPCs who was just like, to me, it was just further proof, like definitively to say that Star Wars is not run by serious people anymore. It's just run by people who it's more about how it makes you look. Star Wars is a platform to elevate you rather than
like your brand, your company in some way.
Yeah, it's like, well, what can we do with Star Wars? How can we make it our Star Wars?
That's like what she said.
Yeah, it's just so dumb.
Again, it feels like it's about the person. That's just like art today. It's about the person making the art, and not necessarily about the art itself.
Right. It's about admiring beauty and like observing beauty and trying to capture it. Not like, what can I say? What do I have to say? And even when I create stuff, I'm thinking about it kind of that way, and so it's a good reminder for me too. Like, don't be this way. Don't, like when you make something, you want to put your spin on it. But when it comes to something like as universally beloved as Star Wars, something that you should understand has some like mythical importance, because it has touched so many people. Like there's clearly something spiritual to it.
Yeah.
Then it's not just like, oh, I'm so happy that finally a woman gets to be in charge of it. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, women have been controlling this thing in a way since the start. And the fact that you don't know that is proof that your thing is not going to be good anyway. So why attach a whole sex to it? Say,
Yeah,
know.
it reminds me of like when the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings was being filmed, and like everybody on set was so into this. Everybody had read the books, loved the books growing up, like
Yeah.
had it almost memorized. And then the guy that they had originally hired for Aragorn was just like not into it really. And people, and like Gandalf, the guy who plays Gandalf, I don't know his name, but he was like,
Ian
"Do you
McKellen.
even want to be here?"
Yeah.
And the guy was just being such a butt. And so they fired him, and that's when Aragorn came.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, and he just like lights out like everything. They actually, when they filmed the scene of seeing Strider in the corner, he
Yeah.
wasn't even there. They had to record that
Oh, yeah,
later.
I remember hearing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was replaced during filming.
Yeah, and they were desperately
Wow.
looking for somebody. It's very interesting.
Dude, they'll never be. I mean, not for a long time probably, unless this
Yeah.
the whole Hollywood system kind of collapses and can rebuild. But Lord of the Rings might have been one of the last times
Oh yeah,
we got something special like that.
and all of those people, it wasn't about them. It was about the art of what somebody else
Right.
had done. It literally, you didn't hear anybody say anything like this back then.
Well, you had to think too, like they had to have thought they were getting away with something. They're like, this isn't gonna be popular. Somehow we got all the money to do this.
Yeah.
So let's just make it as good as possible.
Yeah.
You know, there was the way that people are with Star Wars now, the people who are on Star Wars, it's like in their heads, they think Star Wars is always going to be popular. Where
Yes.
a lot of people are like me now, and it's literally like when they announce new Star Wars stuff, I'm like, I don't trust you. I don't even think of it as Star Wars. I think that somebody stole Star Wars